Darren Bazeley is the coach in charge now. Saturday, 5 a.m. New Zealand time, the All Whites play Sweden, and then next Tuesday, 4 a.m. New Zealand time, playing Qatar. Welcome to the show, mate.
Nah, that's fine. Good to hear from you.
Sweden, this coming Saturday. So you're happily ensconced there. Hell of a long way away from home. So when do all the players arrive for you?
So most of them are here now. Been arriving all day. We're just still waiting for the last one to arrive, which should be here at any moment, actually. So, yeah, come tomorrow morning, we'll have our whole squad ready to start work.
All right, 2 friendlies, Darren. What do you want to get out of these 2 games?
Well, again, I think they're very good games for one, against highly ranked teams. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to see where we're at. Like a bit of a checkpoint against some really good teams. And if this team is going to go to, where we think it can and go to World Cups and compete, then this is a good test for us at this stage to see, how close we are to being able to compete with good teams. So, we definitely want to try and build on what we did in March against a decent China team. But this is, obviously the next step up with a very good Sweden team playing at home in front of a big crowd. So it'll be a good test. And one that, the players are really keen to get into, excited.
How close are you in terms of the players you've selected to the strongest possible team that you would like to have out there?
There's still those players, obviously, that are not here at the moment, not available. Obviously Woodsy's injured. So that's a loss for us. Woodsy's such a good player, so important for us. And then there's the Sarpreet Singh and Ryan Thomas and players that are not sort of available, because they're still recovering from those injuries that are very good players. I think the squad we have here is a really strong, good squad. There's good players, good young players in this squad, and there's also now players that haven't been selected for this squad that are playing a really high level around the world. And we did have James McGarry and Storm Roux, who won the A-League final a few weeks ago. And they're not here because the competition now is really, really strong. So there's players that are not here that are playing at a high level, and then there's these players like your Sarpreet that are not quite fit enough for this window. So I think once we get down the track, and obviously Woodsy's fit, and hopefully Sarpreet's in a good run of form and fitness, then we'll start to be looking like the final squad that we can get to.
Base, what's the latest with Chris? Do Nottingham Forest keep you up to date with how he's getting on?
Well, I don't actually speak to Nottingham Forest, but we speak to Woodsy pretty regularly.
Okay.
He's recovering from his injury. He's on target to be available for the start of the season. So, right now he's working hard with the physios at the club to make sure that when pre-season starts, he's in a good place. So this window was too quick, obviously. He not fit for this window, but I think he'll be fine once the season sort of gets closer for Nottingham Forest. And we need Woodsy back playing club football, back playing in the Premier League, so that we can have him available for our windows, and he's fit and he's firing and scoring goals.
As far as Ryan goes, and also Sarpreet goes, so frustrating for these guys. Ryan Thomas, I still remember, he was a couple of inches flashing wide of the post against Peru and Wellington. We haven't really seen him since, have we? The poor bugger, he's struggled and struggled.
Yeah, he's obviously had these injuries, and that sort of curtailed his playing sort of club career. And now he's moved back to Pixwalla and happy there, doing well. He's fit and playing again. So the thing is, once you've had these sort of quite serious injuries that are a little bit ongoing, there's a lot of management for his body. So when these international windows come along, it's he uses that as a really good opportunity to maintain his body and recover from the sort of rigors of playing club football. So it's a difficult situation for him. And Sarpreet's in a similar position, but it wasn't as long a term injury that he's had, but it is a sort of niggly sort of osteitis pubis injury that is a difficult one to completely get rid of. So again, when he gets opportunities, he has to sort of use those times to maintain his fitness and maintain his body.
Is it frustrating for you, though? Because you'd love to have, obviously, the strongest possible team there. But, when's the last... I can't even remember the last time that we had all these guys together.
Yeah, that's football, I suppose, club football and international football, that you very rarely have everybody 100% fit. The lucky thing now is that, even with some really good players like those guys unavailable, we've got a good squad. We've got a good depth now, and we've got players that have come in, and done well, and players that are really eager to really push themselves forward. So this is a competitive squad. I looking through all the positions here, and it's strong. We've got these players that are not here, and some players that are fighting to be here. So that's good for New Zealand. That now we've got competition, and actually there's decisions to be made on every squad, on every window, on availability and fitness, but also that competition now, where it's just because you're a professional footballer now, you're not automatically making an all-white squad. Which is is great for New Zealand.
Darren Bazeley, All Whites coach with us. In terms of the CCM guys that you mentioned, any reason why they weren't selected? There were players that you just considered better?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to both the players, and I spoke to Monty at the club, and they're doing really well. They've both put themselves back into the frame, back into the conversation around being selected. It's been a difficult couple of years for James. He's moved a couple of times clubs, and now he's happy. Now he's found a home, and it's a good club, and they're doing really well. The difficulty for him is obviously Liberato is so good, and seems to just play every minute of every game, and he's such a good player. And then we've got these understudies to Libby, in regards to Declan Wynne, who was in the last window, Francis de Vries, who was, the understudy a year ago with the All Whites and did well when he came into the squad, and obviously now Jimmy McGarry, plus Sam Sutton, Dalton Wilkins, that's in Europe as well. So we've got quite a few players sort of fighting underneath Libby. And yeah, we made a decision to bring Francis back in. He's been part of the All White squad in the last year, sustained a bad injury, and now is fully fit again. And he does cover a sort of centre-back position as well for us, in case. So, yeah, we decided to go with Francis for this one. But, yeah, Jimmy's got to keep working away. He's doing well. And like I say, he's put himself back in the conversation for future selections.
What do you want to achieve out of these two games results-wise?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we go into every game trying to win every game. So we'll be trying to be really positive and put on a great performance that people can be proud of. We want to score goals. We want to try and win these games. Obviously, it's a really tough challenge and a tough test playing, this Swedish team that have, got some really good players. Players playing in the Premier League and the Bundesliga and around Europe. So this will be a really good test. And I think it's, like we sort of said at the start, a bit of a checkpoint for us to see, how we're going, how close we are, what we need to do better, playing against these sort of top level teams. But, if everything goes right for us on the day, I can see us having a really positive evening.
So after Costa Rica and we lost that match, then we had a big break, then we've got China, then we've got these two. What comes after this? When do we start getting back into our own qualifiers for like the World Cup and things?
Yeah, so at this stage, it looks like all the qualifiers start next year, 2024, and through 2025. So haven't got the schedule for that yet, but that'll be, that's now the target, qualify for the next World Cup. That's the campaign. These games now are sort of all building up towards that. But yeah, we need to make sure that we qualify. It's a great opportunity for New Zealand with that different type of route now, not having to play the intercontinental game, which is where we've come unstuck against Peru and against Costa Rica. So now there's that automatic Oceania route. We need to make sure that we're strong and that we deal with those qualifying games and get ourselves to the World Cup, where we can then really compete on the world stage.
What about matches between now and then? How much, do you know that's put in place? How much planning has there actually been, or are you still kind of waiting to even hear what our next games are after these ones?
Yeah, still waiting for them to be confirmed. But I know that Andrew Pregnell, has said in the media that the All Whites will play every window. So, that's exciting, and I know that they're sort of involved in plans to make sure that we've got good games through this year, ready for the World Cup qualifiers next year. So yeah, I think it's an exciting time to be involved with the squad and with the team. I think there'll be some good games coming up, and hopefully they get confirmed in the next couple of months, through the rest of the year.
Darren Bazeley with us, All Whites coach, interim coach, because we still don't know whether you are going to be the coach. Any word on that?
No, at this stage, yeah, like you say, I'm the interim coach. Proud to be the interim coach. I really enjoyed the games against China, and working with the lads. I've worked with this group of players for a number of years now. They're a great set of lads. So yeah, I love working in this sort of environment with these players. I've got good staff. So at this stage, I just keep, if I'm asked to keep working away, then I'll do that. Keep my head down. There's conversations going on regularly, and I'm still talking to them about the next step. So, like I say, at this stage, I went away to the Under-20 World Cup, and feel like I've been away for quite a while actually. So I went to Argentina and then came back, and then pretty much came straight here. So there hasn't been a lot of change, in the last sort of probably 6 weeks. But obviously, I knew I was being the interim coach for this window, so. This is just another great opportunity to be with the boys and to have, a couple of great international games.
You've obviously put your hand up though, haven't you, Baze, and said, hey, look, I'd like this job. Have you had any kind of official interviewing process, or is this still part of your process, being coach of these games?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is ongoing, but yeah, I interviewed back in December with when that was around. And they've kept me informed all the way along that I was, still in the mix, still part of the process. Obviously, they had some other people that they were talking to, and still are, that are going through negotiations. And I think it's such a big decision that, to think that this would happen quite quickly was, probably a bit naive. Probably never was going to be a quick process, and it is such an important decision that they need to get right. So. Right now, all I can do is concentrate on the job in hand, which is this window, do the best job I can, and I suppose if that goes well, then it sort of goes well for me. But yeah, I think there's a lot of talks and a lot of negotiations going on.
Do you feel though that they want somebody other than you if they can find somebody other than you? Is that the feeling you get?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I think they're obviously talking to people and making sure that for the long term, because it's not a short term next window appointment, that for the next sort of 3 years, 3.5 years now, it's the right person to take this team forward. So, I'm comfortable that they know me, they know how I work. I'm lucky that I get the opportunity to work with the guys, and show that the environment is the way it is, and how hopefully we can impress whilst we're in the job, whilst I'm in the position. But I know that obviously there's conversations happening with some other very good people.
Darren, has it changed much without Danny? Because you've worked alongside Dan for as long as I can remember. How's the management of the side changed without him there?
I don't think it's changed that much. They're a good set of lads. They come into camp. There's a great culture amongst the group. They love getting together and being amongst Kiwis. So we've continued to grow the culture that was in place. We've continued to try and improve the style of play and identity, and really just continue to work on everything with the players. We work with them and talk to them, what they need and what they want from us as staff. But they're a great set of lads. Like I say, they come in, they've got a great team spirit and culture. They work hard, and they're just as proud, to be involved with the All Whites as the next person. So, yeah, they're an easy group to work with, and it's good fun. I enjoy it.
You said, I read some comments from you that you said it was a little bit unsettling, though, the whole thing. That, I mean, obviously everyone wants stability. They want clarity, don't they? They want to know what they're going to be doing in the next 6 months or so. If you applied in December, it's now June. It's quite a long time.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, I suppose it's more unsettling for my family, not knowing what's going to happen next. I'm sort of lucky that I get to do the job. I get to go away and work with the All Whites. I get to go away with the under-20s. So I keep myself busy and do the job in hand. But I think for people around me, it's been a little bit hard, and not knowing what comes next. And obviously, that's the question that everyone asks. What have you heard? What's happening? You get sort of asked that every day,
Sure.
not just myself, but people, friends and family. So that's probably the unsettling part. But like I say, I'm pretty lucky. I get to do the work, and I get to sort of immerse myself in the job, which is great, and I enjoy it. So whether it's interim or not, it's a great job to have, and one I'm very proud to be involved with.
Do you talk to Danny still at all? Because I know how much he loved this team and how he was into this team and how dedicated he was to it. Do you still keep in touch?
Yeah, I mean, he's away at the moment, and it's great to see that he's just got himself back involved in football. So that's good. I think he took a bit of time after everything that happened. He took a bit of time out of football and away from New Zealand. And now, he's got himself back involved in a club over in Australia. So, hopefully that's a pathway for him back into the sort of next level leagues, which would be great to see how he goes over there now.
And finally, when you see the story of Ange Postecoglou and his developments and his coaching career and where it came from, and now he's sitting there at Tottenham Hotspur, does that give you a lot of confidence yourself as well? That hey, we might be down this end of the world. It doesn't matter who I'm coaching or what I'm doing. If I'm good, I show results. I'm a good person. All of that stuff. Anything can happen, and I can go anywhere I want.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. It's amazing. What he's done is awesome, especially for this part of the world.
Yeah.
So he's he went from Australia and into Asia, into Japan, did really well, and got that move over there, and now he's in the Premier League. So it's going to be great, I think, for everybody in New Zealand and Australia to see how he goes this year, in the Premier League, which is awesome. You've got Kevin Muscat that sort of followed him now from the A-League over to Japan, and he's doing great stuff over there. So, yeah, there's coaches from our part of the world that are starting to make headway in the world game. So that's great to have role models, and he's proved that it can be done. So
yeah, brilliant, isn't it?
Great to see how it goes. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, awesome.
All the very best for these upcoming matches. It's fantastic to see our national team play. I love watching the All Whites play, and I know that this is kind of the shop window of the sport here in the country, and then of course we've got the football ferns at the World Cup. You've just had the under-20s and qualifying again through to the knockout stages. So, we're doing what we're doing, aren't we, mate? And hopefully, we find out pretty soon who the coach is, and we can get on with this and then get on to qualifying for the World Cup.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting group of players. The future's bright for New Zealand. We've got a lot of young players that are now playing in good leagues around the world that could end up playing together for the next 10 years. So, yeah, it's exciting. Definitely one, that I'm keen to stay part of. But yeah, whatever happens, this is exciting times for New Zealand.
Awesome, dude. Thanks very much for that. Fucking great. You come across real good. Thank you, Bose. Appreciate it, mate.
Top man. Appreciate that. Cheers, mate.